Ho ho ho! What's going on, guys? 8-Bit Glitch 79 here, and I hope you've been enjoying the 12 nostalgic days of Christmas. Be sure to subscribe and hit that bell so you're notified for the next episode and the next guest we'll have. So sit down by the fire, grab yourself a hot drink, and let's get nostalgic. Okay, now in this episode, I've got a Sega Genesis game. That is Twin Cobra. Before I talk about that, let's take it over to Linda, aka the Gamer Girl.
Thank you, 8-Bit Glitch. I have a nostalgic game that I want to talk about, and that is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers for the Super Nintendo. When I first got this, I remember my mom had asked me a couple games that I wanted to pick up, and every Christmas it was always a struggle for her, and I was very grateful for anything she could get me, and she would always ask me, what do you want to get? And I remember I would say, how about everybody just give me some money and I can get one game that I always want to get every Christmas. And so they started doing that after they realized they were buying me the wrong game. And it was Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I remember picking this up at Game Force. For those who don't know, our local store at the time was Game Force. So I remember asking the guy how much it was beforehand so that I knew exactly what I needed to bring. And when I picked it up, I was super happy about this, and I remember playing it with my brother and my uncle, and my mom was watching on the side because she's not into games, but she'll watch everybody play. And I just was so in awe by the graphics at the time, the fact that it had all the Power Rangers and you can be even the female Power Rangers, because most of the games, no offense, but when they had a female character, you were usually never the female character, or the female character was downgraded. So there was only a few games that I had that had the female characters, and I would always play as Trini. And to this day, when it got stolen, I was super sad, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to find a clean copy. And thank you, J-Love, if you're watching this also, for helping me get my copy again. And I remember I could never one credit clear it at all. I could never one credit clear it, and I remember struggling to get to the end boss, and it was always the last two end bosses that would kick my butt, for real. So I remember after a while I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try one credit clearing it. I know I'm not gonna know death run it. And sure enough, a little while ago I was playing and I was like, I finally one credit cleared it, yay! So this has more nostalgia feel for me, because you have that one game that has always been irritating you because you can't beat it and one credit clear it, or something that you want to know death run, and this is that game. This was that game that I really wanted to beat because it was one of my favorite shows growing up. I used to be a Power Ranger for Halloween most of the time, and this was the game that I always wanted to have and beat. So thank you, 8-Bit Glitch, for having me on your channel, and I'm gonna throw it back to him.
Wow, that looks like a neat game I might have to check out. I've never been a fan of the Power Rangers. I think I just missed that boat when I was when my age was and when that got popular. So I never really checked out Power Rangers, but maybe I'm gonna have to start doing that. So thanks for that, Linda. So now, Twin Cobra. This game is another game that I played a lot on my Sega Genesis back in the day with my friend who had MS, multiple sclerosis, or has MS, I should say, not had. We played this a lot, and I remember one distinct time he was over my house. We used to play music together a lot. I think I mentioned before that me and him were big into metal and stuff like that, and so he picked up the bass and I picked up the guitar, and early on we really kind of, that's where it blossomed from. So he would come over for a weekend, I would go over to his place, and we would just jam and play video games and stuff. So I distinctly remember we were playing this one Sunday before he had to go, and we were swapping off back and forth the controller, trying as desperately to beat this. Now, we didn't NDR it or 1cc it, we were just trying to beat it. And I remember we were so close, we were getting there, and his dad showed up, and I was like, oh no, and stuff. So we're like, hold on, and stuff, and we were able to do it. It was like such the biggest victory, like you couldn't even imagine. So people who don't know about this game, it's based on an arcade game, Twin Cobra. They actually have an NES version of this, obviously with 8-bit graphics, not 16-bit. But I think that this is more arcade accurate, and the graphics on this are awesome. It's one of my favorite shooters. I wouldn't call it a bullet hell, but it can get pretty chaotic. So if you like shooters and you've never played this, I highly recommend you try this out. It's very good. There's like 4 different kind of weapons you can do. It's based on colors. And I streamed this not too long ago trying to do it, and I was getting nowhere. It was tough. I even was using the codes, which I have here on the paper. There's like one of those codes you pause and you can like have not unlimited, but you can add more bombs, and you can also increase your weapon power to full. So even with that, it's tough. But I would love to see Mega Dan try to NDR that someday. So that's my memory, my nostalgic memory for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you're enjoying the series. Again, subscribe, hit that bell so you're notified. This has been 8-Bit Glitch 79, and I'm glitching out.